going to turn this over to my colleagues and friends, Emily James, who is the Program Manager with the Work Incentives Planning and Assistance Program with Goodwill Industries, and Donna Mundy, who's the Program Director or Manager with the WIPA Program with the Center for Accessible Living in Louisville. So Emily and Donna, it's all yours.
All right, good morning. And as you can see this, today we're going to be discussing WIPA and a little bit more about what the WIPA program entails. And as Carolyn has said, we are, this is a collaboration between our three agencies. You've met Carolyn. I don't know if you can see Emily anywhere. Emily, if you want to pop your camera up and say hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emily. I'm so glad you all are here today. Excited to share about WIPA with everybody that's here. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. So Emily is the WIPA program manager and a CWIC for Goodwill Industries, and they cover roughly central Kentucky all the way east. My name's Donna Mundy, and I'm the WIPA program manager and also a CWIC for the Center for Accessible Living. And we're kind of central all the way west. So we are able to cover the entire state of Kentucky. And like I said, you've already met Carolyn. She's with the Human Development Institute with the University of Kentucky. So next slide, we'll just jump right in. Next slide, Carolyn. What is WIPA? WIPA is an acronym for Work Incentives Planning and Assistance, because people will say, WIPA, I've never heard of that. Well, this is basically who we are and what we're about. Definitely work and how to utilize work incentives. We provide individualized, in-depth employment-focused benefits and counseling for people in all 50 states as well as the U.S. territories. And that's an important component of what the WIPA does. We are funded primarily by the Social Security Administration, and it's a critical component of improving employment outcomes for Social Security disability beneficiaries. It's Social Security saw the need and put WIPAs in place. Next slide, please. So here's a little background about the WIPA. The WIPA was created as part of the Ticket to Work. Many of you have probably heard of the Ticket to Work, or you have had clients or people come to you and say, what's this Ticket to Work? I want to know more about it. So WIPA was created back in 1999 as part of the Ticket to Work and the Work Incentive Improvement Act. And initially it started out, it was called BPA&O. So if you've been around a long time, you might remember that. And then in 2006, the name was changed to Work Incentive Planning and Assistance to really emphasize the WIPA's dedication to helping people get back to work if that's what they choose to do, or go to work for the first time. As mentioned previously, Social Security has cooperative agreements with 83 community agencies to help provide WIPA services. So that's in every state and in the territory. So as you know, in Kentucky, there's two of us, the Center for Accessible Living and Goodwill Industries. The WIPA projects are staffed by certified work incentive coordinators. In the introductions, I said both that Emily and I are trained and certified community work incentive coordinators. Emily will talk more about that later in the presentation. But to date, the WIPAs have served more than 750,000 individuals. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier, WIPA is all about work. The mission of WIPA program is to promote employment and with that financial independence for beneficiaries of the Social Security disability programs. And the disability programs you might be aware of are SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, as well as supplemental security income. And they're called Title II and Title 16. But for most people, you'll hear, oh, they're an SSDI or an SSI recipient. And there's different rules for different people, and we help you figure that out. So the next slide, please. So what are our WIPA goals? Oh, back one, Carolyn. The goal of the WIPA, back when they passed the act was to increase the number of Social Security disability beneficiaries who engage in paid employment or self-employment. It's very important as people, if they have been disabled their whole life or they suddenly faced a disability, many of them have worked and they miss working. And also it helps increase their financial stability. And there's also wonderful things that go along with working, like a sense of purpose, a sense of being involved socially with other people. As many of us know, our coworkers are sometimes our best friend and closer than family. And so Social Security saw that need and, wanted to put something in place so people weren't afraid. So, and what we also do too is not only helping people make that first choice to, hey, I'm going to try working, what are the rules for me? But also we can support them long term so people can get that job and keep that job rather than quitting out of fear or landing in some kind of employment that's just totally not for them. Next slide, please. So part of what we do also is we provide accurate and timely work incentive planning and assistance services so that beneficiaries can make the right decisions for them. And what is accurate and timely? That means we get it to you as you need it. So if you're in those first stages of trying to decide, I think I want to go to work, we're there to help you along the way. But also if you call and say, hey, I got a job offer, you need to know what's going to happen right now. Or even if you started working, you need to know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And that's what we do is we put together a report based individually on you. And Emily will talk more about that as we go forward and actually show you some examples. And then also we help reduce your dependency on disability benefits and other income support programs. Because as we know, some of those programs, they have income limits and things, and then we think, okay, we're getting started and now I'm falling off. But with accurate information, individualized to you, you can make the choices for yourself. We're going to increase the financial independence and stability because we can show you what resources are available, what work incentives you can use to really build your own assets and, manage your own fiscal resources so you know what's going to happen, when, and how. Next slide, please. Common myths about WIPA. These are the scary things. We are not here to force people with disability off of benefits. That's not even in our thought processes. What we're doing is looking to see what benefits are available to you. What's relevant to you? Do we protect you from ever losing your benefits due to work? No, but we can help you make informed decisions. Do we help you maximize benefits? No, but we teach you what's out there, what you can do, how you need to report, those kind of things. Do we perform your wage reporting and benefits management? No, we can't do that, but we can teach you how to manage your own. We can help you gather your pay stubs, figure out how I'll do these things so that you can do this independently for yourself. And also it's important to know we are not a representative payee service. Next slide. Important facts about WIPA services. Again, I've said this over and over. WIPA services are employment focused. If you are not even considering working, there's no reason to contact a WIPA. But if you've dreamed about working, thought about working, want to return to work, that's what we're here for. And also, we do not report your information to Social Security or manage your benefits, but we do teach you how. And we teach you the language, the things that you need to know to communicate effectively with Social Security, as well as other state and local benefits you might be receiving, so that you both are on the same page. That's what I always tell my beneficiaries that I work with. You want to be on the same page with Social Security, with DCBS, and with other, your housing authority, everybody that you're working with. And it's important to know that we do conduct most of our services using distance technology. We've been doing this a long time this way before COVID. And we found many ways that we can work with people so that the information is accurately understood. And we take as long as it needs. And this is through Zoom, like this today, FaceTime, texting, email, and good old fashioned snail mail. So we'll work with you until you are clear on what you're able to do. Next slide. Some other facts about WIPA services is we do not provide employment supports, and we get calls about that. Hey, I've got my ticket and now I want you to find me a job. That's not something that we do. But what we can do is we help you decide what employment services you need. What referrals do you need? Do you need to go to the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation? Do you need to utilize an employment network? And then in an employment network, are you looking at working from home? Who specializes in that? Do you need help writing resumes or building skills or perhaps support on the job? We can help you connect you to those agencies that can meet your individualized needs. And then also it's important to know that we are prohibited by Social Security from engaging in certain activities. So we cannot help you apply for disability benefits. That's just something we can't do. I've gotten calls from people who say, my child is now 18. I know I need to apply for services. Can you help me? No, we can help you with what paperwork you need to get together, kind of advise you in what you may need, but we can't assist you. We can't be there with you. And the same way in appeals processes. So if you've been denied Social Security, or if you are in an overpayment situation, or those kind of things, we're not able to help there as well. That's not part of what we do. WIPA is about work. Again, it's very important to know that WIPA services are completely free and confidential. So there's no reason not to talk to a WIPA, because if you're even considering working, the option of having individualized services tailored to you is just priceless. Next slide. Now let's introduce Emily. She's going to take over from here.
Thank you, Donna. So to continue with our presentation about WIPA, I want to start with explaining what WIPA can do for beneficiaries. And you heard Donna talk about the CWICs, and that stands for Community Work Incentive Coordinators. So one of the first things we do when you start WIPA services is to verify all of your benefit information. What happens when you first come into the WIPA program is we will send you releases of information to sign so that we can then have access and request that information. One of the most important pieces is the BPQI, or the Benefits Planning Query from Social Security, that we can get. And then at that point, we're able to go over that with you and verify those benefits. Sometimes we can even find there might be errors at that point and assist you in fixing that if that's the case. So we also, and Donna kind of mentioned this before too, we identify and then connect or refer beneficiaries to services if there are any kind of barriers to employment that present. So the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation might be somewhere we refer for employment assistance or education assistance in order to gain greater education to reach an employment goal. Or if you need assistance in trying to find a job, we would be able to refer you or get you in contact with a career coach or a job coach to assist in that process. And then we want to make sure that you understand how your earnings or potential earnings will affect all of your benefits. So we don't just look at the SSI, the SSDI benefit, but also if you're receiving SNAP, food stamp type benefit, or if you're receiving housing assistance, if you have some kind of VA benefit that you have coming in. So we want to make sure that you are informed and therefore avoid any kind of nasty surprises that might come up along the way if you didn't have the correct information returning to work with benefits. And then also we want to make sure that we point out to you what work incentives are available to you and the best way that those can work for you. So giving you, again, just giving you all the information that you need so that you can make the best decision for yourself or your client moving forward in terms of work. Next slide, please. So CWICs can also support the beneficiaries with reporting. Again, as Donna mentioned, we cannot report for beneficiaries, but we can give you the step-by-step directions in order to make sure that you get your earnings reported correctly and that Social Security gets those verified, keeping you and Social Security on the same page. And that just helps with the flow of the work incentives for sure. Also managing benefits over time. It's not just a one and done thing. So as you progress through your work and through your career, as you grow in your job over time, we can make sure that we check in, let you know, okay, this work incentive might be done, but now this work incentive comes into play. Or you've worked yourself off of SSI to the point where you're no longer receiving a check, but you still have your Medicaid coverage through 1619B. So again, just over time, step by step, assisting you through the process of work. Also, another important piece, and one that a lot of people even are more concerned about than the actual CAS benefit, is the healthcare coverage. Because with SSDI, you do have the Medicare attached. With SSI, you have that Medicaid attached. And we understand how important and crucial that is for people to maintain healthcare coverage. So we do take a close look at that and help you understand how long you're able to maintain, which is usually a surprise to people because it is covered for a long time in terms of healthcare. And then if for some, you might work yourself off all the way, then we can help and point you in the right direction to find other healthcare options that would be good for you. Another thing that CWICs can do also is resolve benefit problems. I mentioned earlier about if we get that report from Social Security about your benefits and we're going over that with you and you're like, no, that's not right, or something's totally wrong, we can help you resolve that type of problem. Or if you get some type of correspondence in the mail from Social Security that's confusing and you don't understand, we can help you to understand that and give you the steps to work through that issue. Next slide, please. Okay, so when you come into the WIPA program, we will, as we were mentioning, verify benefits. We're going to talk to you about what your work and earning goals are, understand all the benefits that you have coming into your household, even take a look and ask about other members of your household that might have benefits as well. So again, we can let you know if those benefits would be affected at all by your earnings and employment. But what happens is after a discussion, the CWICs will write up what's called a benefit summary and analysis, or a BSA. And there's just a picture of the front page of that report. The report actually breaks down each important thing that you want to think about into sections. So you can see on this first page where it has on that bottom half how work affects your cash benefits. And then there'll be another section on how work is going to affect your health care. And then there'll be a section on housing if that applies, a section on SNAP if that applies. There's always a section there about reporting earnings to Social Security with specific instructions, phone numbers, addresses of where you need to turn in pay stubs or who you need to call to report your earnings to. Another neat thing about this report is in each of those sections, you get some general information about the work incentive or about the healthcare coverage. And then there's a little shaded box also included in each of those sections that says specific to you. And so that summarizes just for your situation, how your earning goal and your benefits will work together. So again, it's very individualized. A lot of times when people come through WIPA, they just ask, I want to know how much money I can make without losing my benefits. And that's not really a question that we can answer with just throwing a number out there, because it's different for different people depending on what kind of benefits you have and where you are in terms of work incentives. So again, that's why it's so important and beneficial if you have benefits and you're thinking of working or you're working, that you do come through WIPA to get this information. It's only going to be helpful to you. And we can go on the next slide. Okay, so the CWIC writes up and develops this awesome benefit summary and analysis report. And then we get the copy of the report to you, the beneficiary. And also, if you were referred by a community partner, we would supply a copy to them automatically. That's part of our policy. And then we would follow up. So we're going to contact you after we send out that report to make sure that, of course, that you received it and to go over it with you, to be available to ask, for you to ask any questions that you might have about the report and the information. And it's so important, and we really are encouraging that all members of the beneficiaries team be present at the review, if at all possible. And that includes people like the payee, the case manager, employment specialist, and so on. And the reason for that is because the more people who is on that beneficiary's team that understands how the benefits and earnings work, the more successful and more supportive the people can be, and more successful that the beneficiary can be, because it's not all just up to them to try to maneuver all this. So if everybody can get at least a general idea of how the benefits and earnings work together, it just offers more support and therefore more success to the beneficiary following their work goals. And then of course, also the beneficiary, once they have that report, they are welcome to share that with anyone that they would like to. Sometimes I've had people even, because I can't be with them, and if they have an issue with Social Security and they need to go into the Social Security office when the offices were open, and we were able to do that, they could take that report with them and have the lingo, the language of Social Security is in that report, and help them communicate what their concern or their need is. So it's a really good tool to have. And in addition, when things change, we can update that report for the beneficiary. So if they get a raise or change jobs or lose a job, they can definitely reach out to us and we can update that. Okay, I think we can go on to the next slide, please. And this is kind of following up on what I was just saying. We are available and accessible, the CWICs, the WIPA team. We're not really super hard to get a hold of. Like sometimes when you're calling social services, or if you're calling the Social Security office, it can be a wait time. It can be hard to talk to someone. You're going to be talking to someone different each time, very possibly. So we're someone that you can always call, and we're available, kind of like the point person when it comes to benefits and earnings. So if you have any questions related to benefits and earnings, you can reach out to your CWIC. As I mentioned, if you get a raise, change jobs, stop working, have another benefit that comes into play, lose one, whatever the case may be, you can give us a call, let us know what the situation is, and we can advise on anything you might need to do or be aware of in terms of that situation. And I think we talked about that before too, because sometimes people receive some correspondence from Social Security that really upsets them, or it's confusing, or it seems like it's 100 pages long. How am I ever going to get through this? That's another time that you can contact your CWIC. A lot of our services are over the phone or distance-based, but there's been many a time that I have been on the phone with a beneficiary. They tell me what form they have. I'll pull it up on the computer and we'll go over it line by line, question by question, and help them get that completed and understand what it's all about. Okay, we can go on to the next one, please. So we keep talking about CWICs and they're providing us all this information, but how can we really trust what the CWIC is telling us? Because I know there's situations where people might hear information from even the Social Security office and then find out later that wasn't really exactly accurate. And I'm sure it was nothing on purpose that a Social Security worker did, but in the world of Social Security, there is a lot more than just disability benefits. So those workers have to focus on a lot more other than just disability related Social Security, but not the CWIC. The CWIC is specifically trained in disability related benefits pertaining to Social Security. So we do go, we have background checks that we have to complete. We do have to get federal security clearance through Social Security because we are also very big on protecting private identifying information. We keep your information safe and confidential. We have to complete a very comprehensive training. It is a tough training that takes about a week. And I think going on now, it's like a week and a couple of days doing all virtual, but going over all of the information related to disability benefits through Social Security. We even have to take tests. We have to, do reports and have those submitted, practice reports, making sure that our trainers know that we know the information that we need to know in order to give beneficiaries accurate and correct information. And then there's also ongoing training that happens that we have to do in order to maintain our certification. So we're constantly in training, we're constantly learning. Of course, when policies change or there's updates, we are made aware of that as soon as possible. And again, I think what really helps too is that our scope is small in a sense. We just focus on those disability related benefits. That's our specialty. And then to mention where that training comes from is through VCU, which stands for Virginia Commonwealth University's National Training and Data Center. They're awesome. huge support, so many smart people are part of that. So we're really lucky to have that. Okay, we can go on the next one, please. All right, so who is eligible for WIPA services? Well, remember, WIPA is all about work and also disability-related benefits. So, and to be eligible for WIPA, you would be disabled or blind per Social Security's definition. You would also need to be already receiving the Social Security benefits based on that disability or blindness. So if you are in the process of applying but haven't yet been approved for Social Security, you're not quite ready for WIPA yet. You need to wait until you do get approved. And as Donna mentioned, we're not able to assist in that approval process. So having those benefits that are active. Now, there are situations where people may have benefits but not receiving a cash benefit, but still considered entitled to the benefit. That would still count. And then again, because WIPA is all about work, we focus on that age where people typically are able to work starting at 14 and then through full retirement age. After retirement age happens, then those benefits transfer over automatically, and the work incentives and things that we talk about don't apply. So once you reach retirement, you don't have to actually worry so much about all of that. So that's why we cut it off at the full retirement age. And it's listed that way because not everyone has the same retirement age. It depends on your year of birth when that is. All right, we can go on the next one. So the next thing is talking about how do you make a referral to the WIPA program? Well, as you all probably understand now, in the state of Kentucky, we have two WIPA programs. We have the Center for Accessible Living program, and that covers the west side of the state. And you can see all their counties are listed below there. And then Goodwill Industries of Kentucky WIPA program handles the east side of the state, and all the counties there are listed. But I'll throw out there, if you are wanting to refer, or if you are interested in WIPA services and you call the Goodwill WIPA and you actually are with the Center of Accessible Living, it's not a big deal. We'll just get you in touch with the other one and vice versa. So don't let that stop you. Okay, next one, please. Okay, so with Goodwill Industries of Kentucky WIPA program, community partners are able to make referrals by completing, we have a one-page referral form. And if you don't have that form, you can definitely call, our WIPA Goodwill WIPA line. And our intake and referral specialist, Stephanie, can walk you through that one-page referral and send it out to you to complete. And then also, beneficiaries, of course, can self-refer to WIPA by calling the WIPA line. You can also call the Ticket to Work helpline, which we're going to talk a little bit more about here in a moment. Or you can just call Goodwill Lexington's regional office, and I have the number listed there. So you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, the WIPA line, the phone number there, the Ticket to Work helpline, and then the hearing impaired one. And then also you can email us at workincentives@goodwillky.org. And that email goes straight to, again, our intake specialist who will help answer any questions or get you on the right path, get you started with the WIPA program. And then if you're interested in just looking at more information, you can go to the Goodwill WIPA, it's the Goodwill website at www.goodwillky.org. And then I'm going to throw it back to Donnie here for a moment so she can tell you about CalCU's referral process. So we can go to the next slide.
Good morning again. If you're working, thinking about work, actively looking work, or even seeking resources about vocational training or education, you can call us toll free at this 1-844-689-6620. And then what happens is a community work incentive coordinator will contact you and we'll explain the process. Or you can also email us. We do have referral forms, but you don't need one. If you're self-referring or you're working with an agency, you can just give us a call and we will get the process started, sending you what you need and what we need, and we just begin. It's also important that you can, again, call the Ticket to Work line because they refer directly to the WIPAs that are in their catchment area, like that slide with the counties. So the ticket to work line, the 800 line, they'll say, okay, this one goes over here, and they'll let Emily know, or they'll go over here and they'll let me know. And then we know, we begin the process from there. And then also you can email at webinfo@cowkey.org. Thanks, Carolyn. You can do the next slide.
Okay, so here's a few WIPA referral tips. And the first one says to be sure to refer eligible beneficiaries. And that's just the best you can. If you have a question, I would say err on the side of going ahead and referring. And if for some reason they're not eligible for WIPA, we would let them know, and then again, be able to maybe refer them to a different service or agency to provide them what they're looking for. If at all possible, it is best to refer beneficiaries before employment starts. And that's just so going into their job, into their new career, beneficiaries will already have the information and already know how this employment and how these earnings are going to affect their benefits. But if they've already started working, it's not too late, and it can still be very helpful to go ahead and refer when you catch it. So don't let that hesitate. Don't hesitate to refer if someone's already working, even if they've been working for a while and have benefits, because we can still provide some really helpful information, maybe catch and help them fix some things because they didn't have that information before. And then also, we would appreciate if you were able to educate the beneficiaries a little bit about WIPA services so they know what to expect. And I'd say the main point of that is just to remember that we have a relatively small scope on what we do. We focus on providing information related to benefits and earnings, and that is our game. So we're not able to assist people in finding jobs or writing a resume, but if that's a need and it gets identified, again, we can refer out to people that can help with that. And when in doubt, here comes that ticket to work helpline again. That's where you would want to call or refer the beneficiary to. And if you go on to the next slide, please, we can talk a little bit more about that. So the ticket to work helpline, it has the numbers listed there. And this is a number that works across the country, 866-968-7842. And the lines are open from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the WIPA line provides general information to people about the Ticket to Work program, which is also related to work, different than WIPA, but connected. And then they also provide general information about the WIPA program and some general information also about how work affects the Social Security benefits. As Ms. Donna mentioned, they are able to identify what county the person is in when they're going through the process, the Ticket to Work helpline, and then refer to the proper WIPA program that beneficiary would need services through. And then the helpline also helps to provide and screen, who needs the WIPA services. So if you're not quite sure, well, maybe this WIPA program might be helpful to this person. If you have them call the Ticket to Work helpline, they will determine if WIPA would be helpful and if they would be eligible. And if not, still be able to provide them with some helpful information in terms of work and benefits. Okay, we can go on to the next one. Okay, so these are just some important things to remember. Paid employment and Social Security benefits do not have to be exclusive, meaning it's not you do one or the other. There are many situations where it's in the beneficiary's best interest. They need to maintain those benefits at some level, but they also want to get all of the benefits of working, financial and all the other ones included. So it's not exclusive. They can work together. You can work even full-time and keep your Medicaid and Medicare, and that's in almost every case. And that's for a lengthy amount of time. We're talking years. We're talking like 5 years. So again, a lot of times that's people's main concern, is I'm not as worried about losing that cash benefit, but it's that healthcare that's attached that it would devastate me if I lost that. And there's so many protections along the way that you can maintain that healthcare. Also, it's possible to work and come out ahead financially, even when your benefits are reduced or ceased. That's especially true with SSI benefits. Now, anytime someone goes to work with SSI, if they're earning over $85 in a month, their benefits will reduce. That's just a reality. But it's going to reduce at a level where your earnings and the SSI cash benefit that you have left will put you ahead financially. You're going to end up with more money at the end of the month by working. And it is possible, even if you are working with benefits and you're doing so well and you're earning so much that your benefits terminate, there is a safety net. Again, we're talking about 60 months, 5 years of what's called expedited reinstatement. And that's where if for any reason you're not able to continue working or able to work at that level where you actually terminated your benefits because your earnings were so high, that you can get those benefits reinstated. That's a process. That's another safety net that's built in there. Even provisional benefits are provided to individuals that request that EXR, expedited reinstatement, while Social Security is figuring everything out and making sure that you're eligible to get back on benefits. You have that safety net of provisional benefits while they're going through that process. So that's really nice. I had some people go through this recently and it was such a big help to them. And another important thing, and we're not through the process yet, but if for some reason Social Security decides, no, you're no longer eligible for the cash benefit, we're not able to reinstate the benefits for some reason, you don't have to pay back those provisional benefits. So it's just, again, another great safety net. And we talked about, I think Donna mentioned this earlier too, that we just encourage work because it offers so many more benefits other than just financial gain. It can increase self-worth, the social interactions that's involved, just the emotional well-being and just feeling better overall by having that purpose of work. Okay, next slide, please. So this is one thing that we definitely like to happen within WIPA, and a reason why we like to get the whole beneficiaries team involved when we're talking about how benefits and earnings work together, because we want to share the good news about work and benefits. I know many of us have heard the bad news and know that there's a lot of misinformation out there in the community. And the bad news spreads quickly, but the good news can spread just as quick as well once people have that information. I mean, how many times have we heard, Johnny, I saw Johnny at the gas station and he said he started working and lost all his benefits. Well, probably not an accurate story, and you don't have any of the details or understanding of what really happened. So the myth of you just start working and then all your benefits get yanked from you, that's not reality. And that's what we want to spread, the good news about working and benefits and how there are many safety nets built along the way. And if we all communicate the same positive message and that's what's out there, then that's what people are going to be hearing. That's one of our goals. All right, and on to the next one, please. Okay, so we have come to the end of our presentation. Just want to again give a shout out that the majority of the information in this slide does come from the National Training Data Center through VCU. And if you have any questions, I believe at this time we can unmute. Is that right, Carolyn?
Actually, I'm going to suggest, because there are 155 people, frankly, 154, that actually it's best if you would just type it in the chat box, because now Donna and Emily, you should be able to look at it. Donna and I have both been answering some in between that really may or may not be things that you all could do. I'm going to stop sharing, though, and I'm going to share some other resources that I know would be helpful to all of you all. Well, I'm going to try to stop sharing. I stopped sharing. I'm trying to get my PowerPoint to go away. I want to share a couple of websites with you. There we go. So that, again, our goal really with all of this is to help teach you all to fish. Everyone on this presentation this morning, either you're a family member, you may be a job seeker, or you're an employment specialist, you're a community work transition program, employment specialist. Anyway, you all have a stake in helping people with disabilities go to work. And so the more that you can understand and learn about this, the more competent you will be to really, again, assist people, have confidence in referring them to WIPA, but also, as Emily said, and what's just so important is that you, in your role, understand what the benefit summary and analysis says. And I don't know. And so Emily and Donna, if you could just maybe talk a little bit about that. I mean, you all do this incredible work, and then if it just goes to the beneficiary or maybe even the vocational rehabilitation counselor, it may not get implemented because it's quite likely that the beneficiary may or may not understand it, or there's so much emotional overlay with all of this. So yeah, Donna, if you all could just talk a little bit about the benefit of all the people on the webinar this morning getting involved with that process, not just referring, but then being part of the conversation that you have with beneficiaries when you give the report.
Right. Part of that is super important. And as Emily mentioned, we're all part of the same team. So if you're working in support employment, or you're working with a youth who's considering employment, or you're working with the youth and their parents, and the parents are concerned about we rely on this disability benefit. I know they're going to need this long term for them to be independent, and getting the whole team involved so you can help knock down those myths about working, because your neighbor has an opinion. They say, well, you can only work 20 hours, or somebody else, but we don't know what type of benefits that people have. And like we've said throughout, it's important to know the type. And it's also important, I've worked with beneficiaries a long time, like getting the case manager involved, so the case manager knows what's there. Especially if they're working with housing assistance or a variety of other DCBS, we want everybody on the same team. It's very helpful having the employment person on the team, because then they understand when a person says, no, I'm afraid I'll lose my benefits. Well, we'll look at your report. It looks like you're okay working at this. We'll start out at this level and we'll see where we can go. It's just really ideal to have the team involved.
So thank you, Donna. And I'm putting up, if you'd like to take a picture of the URL, Kentucky Disability 101, this would really help you, in my opinion, then to be, again, more confident and competent when you, again, refer people or help you to understand the report. So all of these are hyperlinks, and just again, I want to share this as a great resource around just understanding. And if I click on, I think Get Expert Help, if I click on SSI and SSDI, see, I can contact Work Incentives Planning and Assistance. A Word document pops up. And I guess we will get you all the PowerPoint, but this is also just a document you might want to download, because it gives you here pretty much on one page what Donna and Emily just described about. Here again are their two programs, and then P&A resource they have, and then the Ticket to Work website.
And that DB 101 is a great resource, because even with there's calculators in there and when they're going to school. And so even if after you've had your initial benefit summary analysis too, as you're considering different jobs and different things, you can put in your estimates and things. And it's all secure. You can sign in, you can create your own account. You don't even have to. You can work through the calculators separately. It's not asking for any personally identifiable information. So it's just a really good tool. And also, if you're confused about, there's a glossary in there, like, what does this mean? We talk about BPQIs and SSI and SSDI and DWB and, all these things. And so sometimes it's important to know, what are they talking about? And it's a handy tool.
So thank you, Donna. And Donna Nelson, I would reply, yes, income can impact people on home and community-based waivers, but the what's called the special income standard is pretty high. And I guess I could type it in here, but for the Michelle P. waiver, home and community-based waiver, it's 3 times the SSI amount. So that's 3 times $783 this year. For the supports for community living waiver, and if you'd like to email me, I can send you Medicaid's manual about this. It's over $5,000. So plus there are work incentives, Donna, like, for example, there are people at UPS there in Louisville, so Donna Mundy, and I know Ashley's worked with folks where if they've worked their way off of SSI, there's been a work incentive that Donna or Emily one mentioned called 1619B. That means they have Medicaid coverage. It doesn't matter how much money they earn. So again, getting people, again, to me, we hold people hostage to these ridiculously low amounts of money because of mythology and misinformation. So people could actually earn up to this year $30,818 and still maintain their eligibility for Medicaid. I did actually talk with a mother recently whose son's on the Michelle P. waiver, and through the pandemic, he works at Kroger's. He's going to make $40,000 this year. So yes, that will be above, right, Emily and Donna? That is above 1619B. Yes, that means he would lose his Medicaid eligibility for the Michelle P. waiver, but the only service they were using was supported employment. So I suggested they open a stable account and just save money, and I'm sure that employment agency would be glad to let them pay privately, right? I mean,
Right,
he didn't want
exactly.
to give up his job at Kroger's. I mean, why would you give that up if the only service you're using? Anyway, you can see how I get excited about this. I mean, there are people that have worked their ways off benefits, right, Donna and Emily, and the sky has not fallen. And in fact, new opportunities, home ownership, have opened to people.
Exactly, because they're not so restricted, and that's so important. And often I've worked with beneficiaries, once they get started working, they're like, this is so much better than worrying about getting my paperwork to Social Security and getting this. And it's so much nicer not to live on $783 a month if they're receiving an SSI benefit. It's opportunities that they had never considered before, because often people tell them, no, you're on disability, you can't work. But there's so many benefits to working and building your assets and becoming more economically stable. And like she said, with the stable account and some of these, there's plenty of ways that you can utilize all these tools and not only survive, but thrive.
Yeah, it is so exciting. Probably one of my favorite parts of the job is when someone does work and they're very nervous about working, and then the work goes so well, and you could just see their progress, not only through their work, but just they grow as an individual and realize, hey, I don't have all these barriers to earning money and having the life that I want, that I thought I had. And it's like the whole world opens up to them. It's just so refreshing to see.
And so I wanted to invite any of you who are interested. I will be doing a one-day presentation about the impact of earnings on benefits through the Kentucky Supported Employment Training Project on December 9th. And I'm typing it in, and then Katie's going to type in the contact person that's part of our project. If you're interested, you can come for free. You just need to email, and Katie will put in Chelsea's email address here in a minute. It is all day. And so I'm going to help you understand a lot more about these things. And I use information from DB 101. And also we have a huge Dropbox of information. And Emily, I think you're speaking at some point that day. I think you're also talking to employment specialists with the individual placement and support. So we have to figure out the timing, but just know we're here to help. Really, we really just want to support you and your work to encourage employment, particularly those of you who are working with students. I want to put, again, the Kentucky Works website up as a tremendous resource for students, youth with disabilities, and their families. And I actually am part of about 6 of us. You click on resources for people with disabilities, and then this Medicaid and SSI, or email me and I'll send you the link. So we have done a 21-minute video about the impact or the truth about working in SSI for students and their families. And we have lots of links to information. Also, our colleague Jeff White does these amazing infographics. Again, the truth about working about SSI and the truth about working or receiving SSDI. Jeff will update these for 2021 because, as we know, both Donna and Emily, there's a cost of living adjustment. And so some of these figures are going to be changing. So again, there's lots of information. To me, the problem is not information. It's getting people to engage with the information. And all of you all on this presentation this morning, I hope you will be inspired, encouraged to want to understand it better, not. And so I'll just even download this infographic. I mean, Jeff does a great job of explaining, again, just right here, just the essence. All you have to do is read those first 3 paragraphs. And so I think Michelle, Patty put it in there. If you just scroll up a little bit, she put in the link to the video. Also, you all would all have my email from the registration link this morning. So just know that, again, between WIPA, DB 101, and Kentucky Works right now, and the Social Security website. I will also put it up here. I don't know what, I think Donna and Emily, I think we all share this. This website's tremendous. And if you have not created your own Social Security account, you should. And actually, Susie Orman will tell you why. But you need to understand your own Social Security. Like, what is your FICA, your payroll taxes, your employer's payroll taxes? What is that doing for you? Because if you understand that yourself, you will do a better job of helping the people that you support understand. And yes, there are some different rules, Angela, and that's why people definitely need to work with one of the CWICs around that. It's just differently how it's calculated. We also, I will put on, we do, whoops, the Support Employment Training Project. We also have a lot of resources on our website. So if you want to take a picture of our URL, or Katie, if you want to type it in, if you go to materials and then you scroll down to fact sheets, then Katie will update these for 2021, but all of the work incentives, we've mentioned a few, like 1619B we've mentioned, but we have two on self-employment. So here's one on SSI and self-employment. And then we have SSDI self-employment fact sheets. You could also check out our website, thank you, Katie, to give you, again, kind of the Cliff Notes version. But those are definitely people who really, really need to work with the CWIC. And actually, I will show you, I'll just open one of them. On all of our fact sheets, we have at the bottom, for more information, contact the WIPA program. And absolutely, Donna, they'll be updated. Katie will update them. She usually updates them that first week in January and gets them posted to the website, but we don't update them until then because it's not yet 2021. So yeah, Katie updates them every year. And thank you, Lori, they are helpful. But I'm going to tell you the best place to start is here, because to me, you're to start here, but then yes, our fact sheets are really helpful. And also on the Kentucky Works website, again, with this webinar, video, all of these are hyperlinks. And actually this is on SSI's website for the person who asked. I mean, this is from a parent. Everyone applying for SSI should read this. I also know there are parents on the webinar this morning, and your best resource is probably another parent. So being a part of a family organization, whether it's related to if you have a child with Down syndrome or a child with autism or on the spectrum or belong to an ARC chapter, it really, really is critical to me that parents connect with other parents, because they've often been through the experience and can tell you step by step what they did and can just be a tremendous resource. Also, you can see here, we actually have the brochure for the center and also the one for Goodwill.